Deadly and precise, Xayah is a revolutionary Vistaya waging a personal war to save her people. This time, straight from the lands of Ionia, comes a rebellious couple, known for their great cunning, versatility, and of course, their lethality and precision. The duo Vistaya, Xayah and Rakan. To begin, we will talk about Xayah, the rebel. This champion has been one of the most recently released in League of Legends, and since her release in the main game, she has been one of the most dominant, thanks to her high-impact attacks that can eliminate any enemy in a few seconds. As it has been released in Wild Rift, also it won't be any surprise to see her in-game frequently. But the point is that she is well balanced right now. And this will impact in-game. But without any further ado, let's begin the video. Hello, it's me KBS and I am here to explain how to play Xayah in Wild Rift. We will begin by looking at her abilities at first. Her passive. Xayah has a passive when paired with Rakan, which allows her to join in on Rakan's recall to get to base faster. Next, her passive ability, Clean Cuts, allows Xayah's next few basic attacks to hit all enemies in their path after using an ability, and each hit will drop a feather. Next, her second ability, Double Daggers, throws 2 daggers rapidly that deal damage and also drop feathers. Next is Deadly Plumage. Xayah creates a storm of blades that increase her attack speed and base damage, as well as granting movement speed if she attacks an enemy champion. This skill will help you to clear the enemies faster. And if Rakan is nearby, she shares the buff with Rakan. Next is Blade Caller. When activated, Xayah will draw all feathers she dropped, dealing damage and immobilizing or rooting the enemies. 3 feathers must hit enemies to be rooted. And her main ultimate, Featherstorm. Xayah will soar, rendering her impossible to attack and reach, and she will throw a storm of daggers, releasing feathers that she can draw. If you're wanting to snare someone with the feathers generated by Featherstorm, you have to be sure that you're really close to the enemy you're trying to snare, since a max range Featherstorm followed by Blade Caller will only hit them with 1 to 2 feathers compared to the 3 needed to snare someone. So, let's see how to increase his ability. First, unlock Double Daggers at first, then mainly you need to focus on his third ability, which is Blade Caller. Then on Deadly Plumage. And whenever you can upgrade your ultimate. Now let's look at runes and spells recommended for Xayah. If there is something that stands out with Xayah, it is the great explosive power that she can have with very few resources. However, without her ultimate on hand, her mobility can be diminished, requiring some defensive tools to survive. These are her recommended runes. First, we take Conqueror, that grants a cumulative damage bonus when dealing damage to enemy champions. Then we pick Gathering Storm. That increases attack damage and ability power as the game progresses. Then Loyalty, which will give you and your closest ally gain 2 armor and 5 bonus magic resistance. Then at last, Mana Flow Band. Increases your maximum mana by dealing damage to enemy champions. As mana is very essential for Xayah. Now let's look at her summoner spells. Being played mostly in the dragon lane, her summoner spells are a standard, which is Flash. As a poorly mobile champion out of combat, Flash serves as an escape tool when facing ambushes or ranged champions with tons of damage. Next is Heal. A great emergency tool, both for its health recovery and the movement speed it grants. Now, we take a look at best items for Xayah. Being a champion with offensive abilities, her objects will be focused on increasing these stats, giving her greater power in her critical damage, her attack range, and increasing her chances of survival with a big arsenal of defensive passives. First of all, we take Infinity Edge, which increases the chance and damage of critical attacks, dramatically increasing DPS. Then we take Gluttonous Greaves, which grants Omnivampirism, giving you a better chance of survival thanks to its lifesteal. We recommend using them with Mercury Enchant for crowd control. Then we take Rapid Fire Cannon, which dramatically increases basic attack range and critical strike chance. Then we take Phantom Dancer. Its passive grants a shield when the amount of life falls below 35%. To finish, you can complement her composition with Death's Dance to increase physical vampirism and receive delayed damage, with Guardian Angel for greater physical damage, and for its Resurrection passive, or with Mortal Reminder to have more armor penetration. You can also take Guardian Angel. Now, let's look at her counters and partners. First, let's look at her counters. It's Draven, which is extremely difficult to play against. He can use his speed up to dodge your feathers. Extremely hard out damages you early. You outscale. Fight with CC and chain your feathers with support CC. Next is Xayah. She can ult to the other side of you and remove any chance of Flashy to hit your feathers. Try to win pre-6 and snowball. Next is Vayne. She is a major threat to her. Vayne outscales you, can cancel your autos with her invis, stopping you from getting feathers out, can easily dodge your feathers also. And at last we got Braum and Yasuo. They both stops your feathers from passing through. Play around their wall and all in when it's on cooldown. And now we will look at her best partner. With no doubt we got Rakan. We don't need to say anything. Xayah and Rakan are made for each other. Literally. Next is Braum. Basically Barum can counter Xayah or help her. His passive is perfect to chain CC, and you can get his passive off easily with your attack speed buff. Next is Lulu. She will be an ideal support for Xayah. Where Lulu lacks in CC, she makes up for by making you a god. And Soroka and Janna are some okay type support for Xayah. Tips for Xayah's playstyle. Let's start with the most important. There are two factors that stand out in Xayah unlike other marksmen. Her feathers and her synergy with Rakan. Her feathers can prove to be staggering in any fight, as if an enemy is in her range when using her blade collar, immobilizing them can open large windows of opportunity for more successful ambushes and sieges. Therefore, it is important you pay attention to these, to know when is the right time to use them to your advantage. In addition, when you have an enemy at your mercy, use your deadly plumage, so you can inflict more damage and give your enemy less chances of escape due to its movement speed bonus. Your double daggers can be used for a surprise attack, since although they look very simple, at advanced stages of the match, they can finish enemies instantly from a safe range. In addition, they work as an emergency tool to steal camps from the jungle, or even dragons and the Baron Nashor. Finally, let's talk about Rakan. It is no secret that the two are a very close couple, so when having Rakan as your support in the dragon lane, both will have increased effects on their abilities during the game. In Xayah's case, using deadly plumage will allow Rakan to cast extra feathers at enemies, which can be used with her blade collar. In addition, on the back to base, Xayah can return with Rakan and vice versa, saving time to come back to battle sooner. It goes without saying that Xayah is one of the most powerful and selected champions within the Rift, however using her to her full potential can be difficult, so it is good to experiment with her, as well as test her synergy with Rakan and other supports. Teamfighting strategy. Teamfighting with Xayah is just like any other standard ADC, you play backline and attack what's closest. Except with the added benefit that you can completely change the outcome of the fight if fighting in a choke point. In teamfights, the enemy team is most likely not looking out for your feathers, especially in lower elos. Just from autoing the front line you can be damaging their backline. Getting off a lot of feathers, then ulting and then getting off more feathers and then pressing E in a choke point is an instant win on a fight. This is the main reason Xayah is in my champ pool. Again, this is specific, and you will sometimes need to use ult to peel for yourself by dodging CC and assassin all-ins. But most assassins will wait for you to use your ult. So if they have a fed assassin and you don't have an enchantress support, keep your ult for peel. You need to play backline. You need to get as many feathers on the ground as possible. You must know when to use your feathers and when not to. Use ult to self-peel against heavy CC tanks or assassins. Next is lane phase. You need to push for level 3. You can use Q and E for poking opponent. You can use ult to dodge main CC. And play off support if enemy ADC is strong. So, next guide will be of Rakan, which will be uploaded tomorrow, so stay tuned by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And hope this guide can help you to master Xayah easily and bully others. Bye, have a nice day and enjoy Valentine week. I although said it to guys, but I am still single.